Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I'm going to have a short presentation. Basically, we start with the introduction of Yilport, who we are. I think a lot of people in Asia do not know who we are. Um, we pride ourselves at being game changers in port operations and management as part of this group. So Yildirim Group, we're part of a larger entity, Yildirim Group of companies. Basically, we are the Yilport Holding is a subsidiary of Yildirim Group, a global, well-diversified group stretching across 4 continents and 51 countries, established in Turkey by Garip Yildirim and Sons in 1963, five main sub-holding companies, and headquartered in Istanbul. About 13,000 employees globally. Again, as I said, we're a diversified operation. We are the world's #2 ferrochrome producer. We're into chromium industry #4. We're metals and minings and chromium in Turkey. We're also the #1 coal and coke importer, fertilizer, chemicals, ammonia. So basically, we, as you can see from that little picture here, we're in fertilizers, chemicals, energy sector. We also have shipping lines. We have shipbuilding, logistics, industrial. Also, there's private equity, metals mining, coal, port management. We are the 12th largest port operating group in the world today. And I'll take this one more step further since this audience is primarily from the industry. And under the private equity, I should mention that we actually, through our private equity arm, we are one of the largest shareholders in CMA CGM, with Mr. Robert Yildirim holding 24% of CMA CGM. So we are also, in some respects, a shipping line, although it's not part of the Yildirim Group, it's our Yilport. So a little bit overview about Yilport Holdings. Basically, as I said, we are 12th largest global port operator, the only one in Turkey, with aspirations to become top 10 in 2025. We operate in 10 countries. We have 22 ports and terminals and 6 inland points, and we have 5,000 plus employees. Basically, as we know, we started up in Istanbul, in Gebze, Yarımçı, Sovantaş, Yilport in Gemlik, that's 5 there. Then we have 3 inland points, rather 5 inland points in Turkey. And then we have 3 terminals in Sweden, one of them inland points, and basically 2 in Oslo as well in Nordic. In Portugal, we are 7 terminals, basically from Leixões, Singapore, Foz, Lisbon, Sotobus, Setúbal, and we have 2 in Spain. We're in Peru, Guatemala, Ecuador, and we've also got Toronto. We also have equity in Malta, but we don't operate Malta. We're just an equity shareholder in Malta. Toronto is the newest one in our books, but we also have at the moment signed with Gulfport. So that's hopefully coming on stream before the end of the year. Of course, it was supposed to come on stream in the middle of the year, but COVID took us a little bit of a backseat. So that's the Yilport Group for my friends back in Asia and the same part of the world. So structurally, basically headquartered in Turkey, in Istanbul, which is where I'm based. And we have basically 4 regions, basically Nordic region, region Turkey, region Iberia, and soon developing region Latam. So basically, a lot of our terminals are multi-purpose terminals. Basically, this is a snapshot of our terminal in Gebze. Basically, we have, as you can tell, a Ro-Ro. We also do type and palletage. We have bulk. We have container, fertilizer. It's a complete entity, fertilizer plant set in between, bonded facilities, storage. And again, in the Turkey footprint, which we try to replicate elsewhere, we create inland points to feed cargo to feed our terminals generally. So COVID-19. Turkey is obviously, as you know, unfortunately, sadly, we're number 7 on the world ranking with more than 100,000 people infected. We have been in lockdown since 16th or 17th of March. At least in our organization, we went into lockdown on the 17th, work from home. So it's been 6 weeks and continues to be a situation here. Basically, as you know, it's been Ramadan and Turkish population spend a lot of time outside. So every weekend we're in curfew. So basically we start Friday midnight and we run through till Sunday midnight. Nobody's on the streets. All shops are closed, etc. And this weekend, being the Labor Day weekend, we go down in lockdown tonight from midnight till Sunday. So basically, the people are enforcing it. Businesses took the initiative. Basically, malls were closed very earlier on. Under 20s are not allowed to be on the street. Over 65s are not allowed to be on the street. So, as you know, we are a dense city, 87 million population, 20 alone in Istanbul. So we needed to create that environment. What do we do in the ports? We initially, obviously, initiated our business continuity management program straight away. And one thing unique about Yilport, which why we say we're the game changer in logistics and port operations, we actually plan all our ships. So, for example, we have a global logistics center based in Istanbul that does the terminal planning for Nordic. We also do the planning for Iberia and also for Porto Bolívar and all of Turkey from a central point. We don't have planners in each of our terminals. We do centralized planning for yard and vessel planning. Very much similar to what shipping lines have done with central planning, we do it in terminal planning, right? So that Australia immediately went off, and basically we straight away when we went into work from home regime, all our planners were working and planning from home. Radios were set up on the PCs, and we continue to function now in that. So that's our new normal. You know, we don't have people sitting around the table, dispatchers looking at it. Everything is done from home, and basically literally from home. We don't have planners in our terminals. We don't have dispatchers in our terminals. They're all centralized, but now they're working from their home, individuals. So they work 12-hour shifts. There is a buddy system. And as an organization, we monitor what these people are doing, the number of activities, hours they spend online. We test, and we have a fail-safe system. If there's no activity for a certain period, the backup kicks in straight away. So that's what we do. So obviously, it started off with training information, adhering to the WHO principles. What you see, the picture there on the thing, is me conducting. I did go out to visit the terminal, and that's how we do our toolbox sessions. Basically, social distancing, sitting around in circle, loud hailers. Everybody's a meter apart, 2 meters apart, and the toolbox is conducted in that manner, both on the wharf and in our workshops. Right. So the two pictures there, you'll see it's what we do. Obviously, personal protection was essential. One of the unique things in now some of our terminals, particularly in Turkey, is we provide shuttle bus services. We provide meals. So we shut down canteens. We had to double up on our bus services. So we had practical social distancing. So these were the elements that we did, right? Moving along, COVID economic impact. That's what we look like. That's the growth forecast. Look at global emerging markets, all the different theories. I think we're all seeing the same numbers. We're looking at the same data. We continue to analyze them. But what we've taken the view in the Yilport is, let's look at what happened in the global financial crisis in 2008. How bad was it and where was it? That is the baseline that we're looking at, right? So we know that the economy shrunk at that point in time. We also know that liner shipping has taken now, we've got the highest number of tonnage laid up. Oil prices continue to tumble. Commodity prices are falling. As I said, we are a diversified group, very heavily involved in mining. So we are impacted across the board, right? So we looked at the benchmarks in the industry, and we looked at 29 as our baseline for our numbers. This we already know. Ships have grown. Size of ships are large, down to 3. And I think the question was asked earlier on, do you think we'll survive? Will shipping lines collapse? I think time will tell how deep will this be, and how the banks will step in to save companies when they go into a situation, right? But we're seeing a repeat in a lot of things that happened in 2008, 2009. Right, so this is a quick snapshot of what's been happening now. If you look at it, and you all know, I'm not preaching to the converted. You know, the port business is extremely labor intensive, very capex intensive. Cost of cranes have shifted. Delivery times have all been moved. We had anticipated delivery of cranes into Puerto Bolivar, but unfortunately we had to defer those cranes basically because the country's gone to lockdown. We've seen a reduced number of moves per call, on average 20%, depending on the admin cost is nearly double. We have spent a lot on PPEs, right, and social distancing, plus the additional requirements of the other WHO. The liner companies are coming to us exactly like I said in 2008, 2009. Can we have large discounts? Can we have 20% across the board? Can we have 15% across the board, right? So we are pressed. We are under pressure. Ports are declared strategic. We need to keep the lifeline open, right? And that we have done. I think all our terminals are running. All our terminals are running in full operation at this point in time. Energy consumption, electricity, most of our terminals are electrified, so our electricity consumption is still high, right? But we have no incentives directly from the ports. I think when you see government incentives or rather all Australian packages that have been gone out, nothing is targeted towards the ports at this point in time, not yet, anyway. Liners, basically, through the ability to take tonnage out, as you know, in the Asia-Europe, there's been substantial volume removal. I said 3 million tons sitting outside, TEUs sitting outside. They managed to maintain some of the freight rates. The freight indexes have maintained, not as have yo-yoed as we anticipated. Cost reduction activities, we've basically on the terminal, on our side, basically we are looking at a lot of cost reduction initiatives across the terminals. Fuel prices are at the historical low, but we are based on electricity. Apart from the small bit of fuels in our terminal tractors, all our terminals are electrified, cranes, blank sailings. Fortunately for us in our ports, we have been quite isolated because we don't have a lot of exposure to Asia-Europe trades. So we've lost volume, but we've not been impacted as severely. And I think I take the point, I think Captain Subra and some of the panelists here were members, signed a declaration last week to keep the ports open, right, as strategic to things. So I think as a terminal operator, I think as the only terminal operator in the panel here, I'd like to see a little bit more, we are also the front line. So I think we need to get some assistance, and I think we will reach out for assistance to sustainable. After all, we are PPP or BOT, so whatever assets the terminals are working on are basically for the government and for the states. And I think with that, I have not much else. I'll say thank you. And with a view of Turkey.